call. Welcome to our morning mentorship call. This is day 4 of our financial fast, 21-day financial fast. So congratulations to everyone who's made it to day 4. Hopefully you're getting your journal on. My wife broke down really in the last chapter. She broke down God's generosity. Okay, she broke down giving, charity. Okay, and our mindsets and our energy towards it. So I'm going to continue with that, really, to something that is, for some who have the Christian foundation, tithing is something big. But even in the world, tithing is something huge in the world. And I'm going to talk about it from a point of mindset, okay? A point of the letter of the law. What is it meant to do for you? So I want you to take that in mind. So just because I'm talking about tithing, I don't want you to discount this because you think it's something that is religious or it's meant for a certain type of person. No, there is a backing behind it of the way that you're supposed to feel and the energy that you put out. Some of you have been on our call. We did our mentorship calls with breaking the habit of being yourself. I'm going to talk about that a little bit and its implications here in the reading. So starting off with what Michelle Singletary is getting at, okay, we're talking about tithing today, okay? And this is a subject maybe in your household that you guys talk about, okay? You hear it all the time. Listen, I grew up with it. And so I laughed because she's talking about one day she was sitting next to her grandmother in church, and that the old school, the plate comes around. These days where it's technology. See, technology, we have our phones. It may look like you can tithe, it may act like you're tithing, but that's not what it's about, folks. You see, we do it because we're doing it in front of people. It's about us. It's about flesh. I want you to feel it. Listen, I'm not safe. I'm not safe from this message either. I'm telling you, it's all of us. And I want you to hear this because I want you to understand the letter of the reading, what it's meant, what is the intent, okay? So back in the days, we passed around that tray. Okay, you see everybody pass it around, and there was some type of feeling you had. I don't know what feeling you had, depending on where you come from. What feeling did you have when that tray passed around? And you understood where the pastor talked about giving and tithing and what it meant for your life, and sowing and reaping and things of that sort, right? Well, she talks about that tray came around to her grandmother, and her grandmother's muffled, I ain't giving another dime. Okay. And what she didn't realize, okay, the grandmother, is that it was something that she was showing her grandbaby, her child. And this is what Michelle said that she felt. And some of you may have this feeling, okay? And I want to suggest and challenge you, okay, to pray about it, to research it, and to find it in your heart where you stand in this subject, okay? But I do know that it's a part of our fast, so let's talk about it. Okay, what Michelle Singletary talked about, she said, when that happened to her, it gave her fear. Okay, her grandmother put fear in her that they didn't have enough. That wasn't enough. And I want you to understand the shakeup that can cause. Because here in one phase, we say God provides all things, right? But in another instance, we do the opposite. Because we really don't have the faith, right? We're worried about if we have enough, will we be provided? Will my harvest even grow? Okay. And so I look at this when she's talking about tithing. And for those who don't know what tithing is, tithing means giving a tenth of your first. Okay. And so she's going to clarify exactly what that means, talking about your income. It may be if you're a farmer back in the days, when to talk about in the ancient sense, you gave your first fruits. Okay. And so, or you gave your first cattle, whatever it is that you did, but you gave a tenth. Okay. It may have been that you've grown spices and things of that sort. So in the world that we are today, we work for money. So we give a tenth of what our income that comes in first because we have faith, what's happening. But I'm going to talk about it mindset-wise, what you're doing when you want to be cheerful with it, okay? It has to come from the heart, which you all know. We talked about this frontal lobe. We talked about the thing, but then the emotional then eventually gets ingrained into you, okay? And the energy that you're putting out. So she further goes on to say, when you grow up poor or you have low income, and this is the sentiment, you worry about, if you have enough money to get by, to pay the bills, to pay rent. And as I was reading, I went and started more deeply into the reading, it was said that you practice. And when I say practice something, practice tithing, that means you are practicing so you can get good at it, okay? Which is going to require some attention. It's going to require some planning, a tenth of your income. Some of you are like, well, what if I don't have a tenth? We're going to talk about that, okay? And so she goes on further to say that her fears of tithing was grounded in her lack of faith, okay? So there's more things that go into this. That's energy, okay, that you're putting out. And because you have a lack of something, a lack of faith, lack of, if you have enough, guess what you start attracting more of? That lack. And then you don't have it because you're holding so tight onto it. And, we've heard the scripture that you can't serve two masters, okay? You can't serve money and God at the same time. And what it's saying really, and she talks about that here, what it's saying really is this, okay? If I'm serving money, which I believe if you're serving money, okay, you're really just servicing the flesh, your own needs, okay? Wanda gave a powerful talk yesterday talking about, us as consumers, what we can cut back on, okay, how we impact other countries. Okay, look at when we tithe, okay, we can't give into the flesh. The intent of the letter of the law here is not really giving into the flesh, okay, outside of also our budget, but not giving to the flesh, but giving up to the spirit. And so she further goes on to say, of course, don't shirk your obligations, okay? But at the same time, you shouldn't be in a situation where you can't give a tenth because you're supposed to give your first. That means we're already outside the zone. If you have so much debt placed in your life that you can't see that you can give a tenth, then you're already in the wrong place biblically anyway, right? You're already outside of where you're supposed to be anyway. So this is meant to bring us back. So think about that now. It's like, I'm supposed to give my first, but I can't give my first because I haven't been following, right, the letter of the law or whatever your foundation is, okay? She says, so in the end, you got to commit to tithing. When I say commit to tithing, it has to be something you plan, okay, into your income. You also got to commit to managing your money. So guess what tithing is going to force you to do? Manage your money appropriately, okay? Is that bad? Like I want you to just think about this. If you have to tithe and it forces you to manage your money, is that a bad thing? Because aren't we mismanaging our money anyway? Some people are mismanaging their money. You're going to go spend that tenth on something else that did not bring you anything anyway, okay? Wouldn't you want that tenth to go to God, to go to something, to go to your church, to go to a charity, to go to some family that needs it, right? Because we have enough, whether you know it or not. We're just over consuming what we have, what we've been blessed with. And because we are not good stewards to what we've been blessed with, guess what doesn't come? We can't get more blessings, or what I like to call increasing returns, or sowing and reaping, okay? The lack of sowing, but expecting reaping. Basically, you're expecting more without giving, okay? And so she goes on to say, okay, she was tormented by tithing because of that one situation. And here's what I'll say as a parent now, okay? Something that we have to work on here. Sometimes we don't realize the impact that we're having on our kids. It may have a long-lasting impact on your kids, okay? So practicing tithing, a tenth, giving your first, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be necessarily to the church. It can be to a charity. Maybe you don't attend church. It can be to a charity. We wanted to talk about that yesterday. So she really goes in deep. And for those who want to go deeper, you can go into the Bible and learn a little bit more. But here's what I want to leave you guys with, okay? The scripture goes, give and it will be given to you. So we know this, right? Give and it will be given to you. For those who've been on our previous mentorship calls, I look at this scripture as you get back what you put out, simply put, right? We understand that whatever energy you put out, your mindset that you have, that's what you're going to get out. And I believe that it was trying to put this in a clear sense, okay? When we give cheerfully, we have an energy about it that is going to attract it right back. Yeah, have you ever just seen those people that are just so happy-go-lucky? It seems like they're just constantly being blessed, okay? Because they're cheerful. And so this is why it goes on to say, you want to give cheerfully. And so I'm going to go and just read directly what she says from 2 Corinthians. Whoever sows sparingly, okay, will also reap sparingly. You get back what you put out. And whosoever generously will also reap generously, okay, your harvest. So I want you to think about it this way. If you're planting seeds in the ground and you're throwing seeds all over the place, you're just throwing them. Is it possible, because you're throwing sparingly, you're planting those seeds, that those seeds may come back abundantly? First of all, we have the mindset of growth that is going to come back to us, okay? And so she's going to talk about 10 tithing questions. So we're going to keep this call short. So 10 tithing questions that some of you might have. If you've grown up in the church, you'll understand this. If not, don't worry. If you've had any questions about just giving, okay, I want to talk about the intent of just giving. Okay, number one, should I tithe on my gross income? Listen, and I'll tell you a perspective. Give with a cheerful heart. If this is causing heartache, then it's not worth it, okay? You must give with a cheerful heart because it's about the energy that you're putting out when you do it, okay? If you're having a hard time, let's say, giving to a charity, don't give, okay? It's not, you're not giving it in a heartfelt emotion, okay? And it's not going to give anything back to you anyway. You're missing the whole blessing about giving. You ever heard that it's not really the receiver that's getting the blessing, it's the giver, okay? It's the way that you feel. It's what it triggered. Have you ever given something and you felt so good about it? I just want you to understand the emotion and the feeling. And because of that emotion, the feeling that you're getting because you're giving, guess what happens? There are things that just come back to you, whether it doesn't have to be monetary things that come back to you. It can be in the form of many things, okay? But the point that is putting you in a cheerful position is powerful. So, of course, number one, okay, she's just going to talk about the letter of the law, okay? Tithing should do on your growth income. So this is a practice that you can do, okay? We talk about it in the form of investments sometimes, right? Some people can't even give a tenth to their investments, let alone give. So I want you to understand, as you start practicing this, it's going to spill out into your other things. If you're getting used to, okay, now I got a tenth here, man, more money's coming. Now I've learned how to practice giving a tenth of something. I give a tenth here, I give a tenth here, I give a tenth here. That's the blessing that you're getting back because you're practicing, okay? And it's implemented into your budget, okay? Your money management. Number two, if I'm laid off and collecting unemployment, do I tithe based on what I'm making before or on my unemployment check, okay? I look at this still, once again, it's mindset, okay? Do I have enough? And so she says, yes. But at the same time, you just feel there is no worry. You're not worried about what's going to come and what's not going to come. Someone who's unemployed, guess what? They're looking for a job. They're like, Lord, please bring me this job. And they're going out looking. And look, they're still tithing or they're giving to charity or whatever they're doing with the money that they do have. They're good stewards of what they do have. And therefore, at some point, they'll be blessed with more. Also, law of compensation. Understand that you can't be cheated in life at all. 3, should I tithe if I'm unemployed and have no income? Okay, logical. No. Okay. But whatever you do have, once again, it's all about what's in your heart. Okay. At the end of the day, we're going to go through this. I want to know what's in your heart. That's what this is about. What energy are you putting out? Are you putting out a lack energy? Are you putting out, my needs will always be met? I have faith that that's going to happen. And therefore, because you believe that, you're putting in the effort and the work, and you have a faith that is done, And because you have faith, remember, faith, when I look at faith and works, they're synonymous together. When you have faith, you're automatically doing the work. Okay? That's the mindset of it. And so because you have the faith that your needs will be provided, you're automatically going to do the work. And guess what? Because you're putting out the work, you're putting it out there, the energy is going to come back. Some people may call it karma. Okay? Sowing and reaping. You get back what you put out. 4, should I tithe even if I'm deeply in debt? Okay. Once again, this is going to be about money management. She says yes in this book. Now, once again, cheerful. Okay. Does it make sense for you? Right now, we're talking about 80% of the population right now in the world is in debt. How did we get in debt? We got in debt because we were spending more than we earned. Okay. We were doing something, and I talked about that day 2. We were breaking a commandment that put us in that situation. It says do not take debt that you cannot pay off. Okay, so this is just once again putting you in position to have the mindset so that you can keep pushing. So yeah, well, whatever your foundation is, whether you pray, you meditate, okay, you're still asking for these things to be done while also practicing, whether it's giving a tenth or whether it's giving cheerfully. Okay, she goes and say the wicked borrow and do not pay. That's just scriptural here. But there's things I want you to think about this. If you believe in God, right, and you believe he's going to supply all your needs, do you think that cable TV is more important than God? I want you to really think about it, right? Or maybe that NFL subscription. That NFL subscription is more important than God. No, but we have these things, right? We prefer to have these things than to what? Give cheerfully, okay? And this is once again, when we inspect and evaluate our heart, where does our love lie? This is where we get into the love of what it is. Where does our flesh? Are we giving into the flesh? Yes. Okay. Because we're giving into the things that we want versus doing what we need and what we have to do. And that's what got into our situation. Understand? Are you hearing where I'm going? So what it's going to force you to do is really evaluate and look at your money and follow the commandments. You shouldn't be in debt. Okay. So you're in debt, and now because you're in debt, you can't go out and give cheerfully. And so it's going to make us reevaluate that, and of course, get out of that situation. Number 5, I know we are required to render our tithe, but should I also give an offering if I am in debt? Okay. Once again, it's all about the heart. What's in your heart? Do you have it in your heart to give an offering, to give giving? That's what this is all about, folks. At the end of the day, it's about your expectation, what you expect or what you inspect in your heart, the feeling and the push of energy that you give out there, because you're going to receive that back. And so going on to say in Corinthians, she goes, but this I say, he who sows sparingly also reaps sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So let each one give as he purposes in his heart. Okay. And so when we talk about breaking habit of being yourself, we talk about quantum physics energy. You know, when we're going through that, right, we talk about something that if you constantly practice or you have a feeling or emotion that you keep on living through. So let's say that Michelle, okay, she kept reliving what her grandmother did, that lack. All she's going to attract in her life is lack. But let's say you have an abundance mindset. This, you are giving and you're giving cheerfully. Well, you have an abundant mindset, folks. That's what that is. That's the letter. At the end of the day, he just says, give cheerfully. Can I tithe on my time instead of my money? No. Okay, I'll just answer that question straight. Should I still give if my spouse doesn't believe in tithing? I love this. Okay. So spouse, and depending on your foundation, obviously, she talks about a situation with a husband and wife. If the wife wants to tithe and the husband is like, no, okay, it says follow the husband's commandment. At the same time, whatever you're doing, you can still tithe on your own. Now, on the opposite end, if the husband says tithe, she just says, hey, the wife should be following the husband's commandments. Yes, tithe. Okay. And so really don't cause friction in the home. Follow the guidelines. Okay. Keep peace. And then you guys pray about it, meditate on it together. 8, should I tithe on life insurance, settlements, on inheritance? At the end of the day, you're going to realize any income, okay, it's just like any harvest. When you plant seeds, you reap a harvest, the first tenth. So like anything that you get, whether it comes from your job or your business, any income that's coming to your household, right, you're practicing, okay, just the point of giving, the energy that you're putting out. 9, should I tithe on my Social Security? It goes, fuck. Should I tithe on my Social Security or payments? Okay, all income, and I'm gonna keep it there. So here's what I want to bring this in. I'm gonna end it with her daily assignment. Everybody on here, we've had these conversations before. I don't know what your foundation is. Okay, you know, in our household, we're Christians. We do practice tithing, and of course, it's a subject of conversation in our household. And this has always been a question of me growing up as I watched my parents operate in this arena, watch people in my circle operate in this arena. Of course, it's something I will tell you anyone on this call pray about. But what I do know and understand, definitely from a lot of the mentorship calls that we've been giving, it's all about what do you feel in your heart, okay? And just remember, what you put out, you're absolutely going to get back, okay? And really what God is trying to put you in a position to do, okay? First of all, okay, keeping your spirit clean. Do not be conformed to the things of this world. What are we conforming to in the world? Well, hey, shopping, consumerism, okay, keeping us from that. Those are the things that are keeping us in debt anyway. Us giving in to the flesh is keeping us in debt, okay? So if we're keep on giving in to our flesh, we're going to stay in debt. So by merely practicing tithing, it's just really putting you in position to manage your money properly, okay? And so it's the only thing in scripture that says test me on it. Do it. Budget. Try it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You give to a good cause. You give to charity. You help a family eat. Test it. Do it cheerfully. And watch the energy that you're going to put out. So here's her assignment here as we bring it to a close. She goes, if you're not a tither, make a list of the reasons why you don't tithe. Okay? This is your journal. Your list might include things like, I can't afford to tithe. Okay, so now we're just going to get to the underlying issues. That's what this is about. Okay, I'm afraid I won't have enough to pay my bills. Those are typically the things. Add up all the non-essential expenses you had in the last month, such as cable, eating out, going to the movies, etc. How much are you spending on these? Okay, so we're going to do a kind of a small budget today. What are you spending? So go look at your bank account. Listen, I remember the time that when we looked at our bank account and we looked at all the stuff, I said, man, I didn't realize we were spending so much money on food. Listen, the Webb household spends some money on some food, okay? So we knew what we can cut costs at, okay? So really what this is going to cause you to do is just going to cause you to manage your money. Is it bad to manage? No, okay? Understand, you're just following some commands here. Figure out how much your tithe would be per month and compare this with your money you spent on non-essential. Do you see places you can cut your expenses to find the money to tithe? Okay, so once again, it's calling you to inspect what you expect. If you're already tithing, are you tithing on your gross income? If not, take a look at your discretionary spending, cable, cell phone, entertainment, and consider cutting back so that you can tithe on the full amount of your increase. If you are already tithing on your gross income, examine your offering and charitable contribution to the organization. Are you giving as much as you can? Are you tithing to the penny while grossing that you can't or won't give another dime to anything else? Okay. Remember Wanda, I heard Wanda say yesterday, she said, I will never say the word never, right? Okay. I'll never do that because it's, once again, what I believe is just the energy that you're putting out there. Okay. You're hurting yourself in the mix of this. So I want you to journal this, and maybe this is something that you didn't know about. Okay, go research, go look it up. What I want you to understand is, what are you giving to? If it's not the local church, what charity are you giving to? Okay, what are you consuming more of that you have, and you're just going out and doing it, but you can be giving to someone that's in need. Okay, some of us, we come from, for those who have experienced living in poverty. Okay, you know what it's like. You know that emotion. You know that feeling. Listen, I can tell you my story. Okay, during the summer times. Living in a single family home. There are times that when school was out, we would go up to the school just for free lunch. Thank God. Okay. For programs like that. There were times that, we had to go to the church. So what things can you give to? There are food banks like my wife talked about yesterday. What things can you give to, okay, to decrease your consumerism? Okay. And I promise you, you'll become aware in this world, and there is nothing greater, okay, than being more aware about your current situation and understanding your privilege that you have today. It doesn't matter where you are in your walk right now, okay, in your financial walk right now. I do know that if you inspect, you're going to start expecting, okay, because when you inspect, you can now evaluate where you are in your finances. So I want to challenge everybody here. If not tithing, okay, tithing just means a tenth, okay, give something to a program that needs it. Give something to the food bank. Give something in some place, and then work it in your budget. And I want you to journal. How do you feel after that? Okay, maybe it might not be today, but as you get used to doing it, because you're practicing it, you'll start realizing the harvest that you're creating, no different than sowing seeds anywhere else. You'll start just realizing that your life starts falling in order. Okay. So that is our call, folks. I appreciate you all. I see the chat here. This is recorded. For those who have the link, it's been private right now. So I'll have the link private for the next 21 days, but we have a link directly put into the Legacy Worldwide chat. So make sure you get on that link. Our call will also be going tomorrow. Wanda will be delivering the message tomorrow. We'll be working on day 5. Okay. Day 5 is going to be fasting for a better financial life. Day 5, the evils of entitlement. Woo! Oh, this is going to be good. Okay. The evils of entitlement. What are the gotchas? Okay. So day 5 tomorrow, we'll start at the regular time, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Be on that. Once again, always going to be power packed. As you know, we have